doing?
Great, man. Finished training. I'm gonna stop by a boxing shop and I get a quick breakfast, so that's okay if you don't mind. How's
Yeah,
going,
no
man?
problem. Yeah.
Like,
Did you wake up early to watch the UFC card today?
nah, I got in pretty late last night because I had to go to Connecticut to do some work, and then my flight got delayed, so I had practice at 9 a.m. this morning, basically about an hour and 10 minutes away. So I needed to get some rest. My teammates fought, one lost, or one lost, one won.
Hmm.
So um, back to it.
Yeah, and I know you're a big traveler. You said you're in Connecticut right now?
I was in Connecticut yesterday. I'm back in South Florida now. I was in Connecticut
Okay.
for like 24 hours. So I was there Thursday to Friday morning. Thursday, yeah, Thursday morning to Friday morning, and then now I was back in Delray, and I'm in Miami. So my schedule goes.
Did you drive your motorcycle all the way down?
I'm not allowed to ride my bike right now.
You can't ride it during camp?
No, I can ride during camp. It's just like the playoffs. Like it's kind of like my coach. Like semifinals is a lot of ride only on Sundays out to like the church and stuff in the area, and then during what is it? Thank you. Then during now since the championship fight, I'm not allowed to ride until the next day.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty fair, but I've always thought motorcycles were really dope, but at the same time, super scary. I don't think I'd be able to get on one of those things, but I'm always really interested in, the people who do. So that's cool.
Yeah,
Uh
motorcycles are great, man.
so first and foremost, man, I just want to say thank you so much for being so kind and so humble. We met at the PFL card this past week, and what struck me the most from talking to you is just how polite you are, and how down to earth you are, despite the fact that you're blowing up right now in the fight world.
Appreciate you.
So tell me a little bit about just that kind of kindness that you continue to show, and not being too enamored by the fame and things like that. So tell me a little bit about just that mentality.
Man, thank you. First of all, thank you. It was great meeting you there too. That's my parents how they raised me. Really, like I'm not perfect. You've hurt people, right? Like that, like it's fighting, but like it's like you've done people wrong. I've done people wrong too in life, right? And it's like it's just I don't want to be that person. I always strive to like be kind or sweet to people. And obviously, when I fight, my focus is to go kill the guy. Like that's what you need to do. But it's never been about it's never been about thank you. It's never been about me like trying to be like this thugged out dude or make anybody feel uncomfortable. I want everybody to feel welcomed and accessible to me. Like sometimes you have to cut people off in life. Sometimes you have to like say snake your stand, say no's or no. But like what y'all do is a lot of work, and you write stories about us, right? You talk to us, and I think it's fun. Like of course you have the VIP seats, you have the attention, but I think it's important too, like to connect with people who are actually interested in what we get to do and see about their lives because you're humans too. So I think like everybody goes through something. And, like my faith is more important than my fighting, and I think that keeps me like at peace. So like when I do mess up, it helps me own it. And when I meet people, it just lets me show them love. And it's kind of cool because everybody has a different story. Like you learn stuff about the people in the media teams, you learn about their lives. You're like, what you do is pretty cool too. Like outside of it, yeah, maybe they're doing journalism here, but then tomorrow they're out there racing cars, and you would never know if you never sat down to the chance to talk to them. So I love people. I love people for sure, and uh, yeah, it's a fight. It's a title fight. I get it for sure, but I expect myself to go claim the victory. I expect myself to go dominate, but that shouldn't change how I treat people. It should change how I focus. It should increase it, I believe, but it should never make me look down on people. So um, like I want to be that type of champion.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. And I really appreciate that. I think that a lot of fighters and a lot of people who, are quick to really bag on media and stuff, they don't think about the fact that, a lot of us aren't making crazy money doing this kind of stuff. We do it out of the love of the game, just like you do. But obviously, you're putting your body on the line, so utmost respect goes to you. You know, it's not like it's a little bit different dealing with a Twitter troll than it is dealing with somebody trying to punch you in the face. So
Yeah, it's
I
different, man.
yeah.
I agree. Sorry.
No, yeah, and you mentioned your family, how your parents raised you and things like that.
Yeah.
I know you're a Congolese, right?
Yep.
Yeah, and your parents are from the Congo, and then you were born and raised here?
Yeah. So my parents were from Kinshasa
Hmm.
in Democratic Republic of Congo. I was born in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Grew up in like a countryside in Okeechobee. Grew up in like South Florida, like beach towns like Boynton Beach and Lake Worth, West Palm Beach, all that. And then when I was 12, I moved to North Carolina, a place called Mint Hill, and then like the southern part of Charlotte, like South Charlotte, so near Matthews and stuff like that. So
Okay.
yeah, first person in my family born outside of Africa, but also born outside of Congo in general. So yeah, I'm proud to be Congolese American.
That's amazing, man. I'm a son of immigrants as well. My parents came from the Ukraine. So,
Oh really?
yeah, I'm definitely very familiar with, what it's like to be the kid of immigrants. I'm sure you
Yeah,
grew up with a really strict upbringing and stuff like that.
yeah,
Tell,
for
tell me
sure.
a little bit about how you grew up.
Yeah, especially me growing up, I was I'm the first three. So it's like you grew up in an African house, but American culture. So it's like
Hmm.
it's like funny. Like my dad was a teacher, and my mom was a nurse. So like they were definitely intertwined with the culture. We still have like different principles. Food's different, cultures and respects different, right? But man, I love it because it's like I hear so many languages in my house. My dad at the time was speaking 9 languages. My mom speaks seven. Like they're just always going through like you hear like a different kind of culture than a lot of my friends I went to school with and just friends in the area.
Do you
My
speak
dad
any of
always
those
encouraged.
languages?
I need to. I can understand French pretty well, so I need to practice more. But Lingala, Swahili, Chuluba, I hear it. I'm like, okay, I hear what they're saying, especially when they're upset or if they're making a joke. But yeah, I definitely need to learn the languages. Should start with French. But I'd like to though. But it was a beautiful time because like it was different, right? The clothing, the culture. Like I really felt connected. When you're a kid, you get made fun of a lot. But when you get older, you're like it's actually pretty cool. You start connecting with people. It was interesting growing up because like I wasn't African enough to be African sometimes, and then I wasn't African American enough to be African American. So I was like in that in between. I don't think it was like an identity crisis or anything like that. But it's more so like, why do people say that? I was just kind of like a confused thing. But I was like, I'm proud to be who I am, and like I've always been that way. So it was cool. Like I got to own it more as I grew. But now it's pretty cool, like being on the world stage. Like I'm honored that Congolese people reach out and say they're proud, and I'm happy that Americans who see me carry the American flag as well and be proud. My dad sewed the flags together, so I just love being American. I love being Congolese man, and I love being African American. Like I love all that I get to be. Right, and so
Absolutely, yeah, and it sounds like you're really comfortable with who you are. It sounds like you're a little bit of a maverick as well. Like you're traveling on your own, and you feel super comfortable that way. Would you say that's true? Would you say that you're more of an independent guy, or tell me a little bit
yeah,
about
for sure. I'm independent. I love people. Like if I travel with people, it's great, but I also like new space.
that? Hmm.
It's kind of motorcycles where it comes in. Like when I fought in San Antonio, and that big people got to have a whole team with me, and I love them. And at times I'll go for walks by myself, to pray, talk, think through things. Um, I I love you. I don't know. It's just like it's fun exploring and meeting people because you get have like genuine conversations and just get to know people. You get to know
Hmm.
yourself. Like I'm good at having lunch and dinner, breakfast by myself. I like it because it's like I get time to think. Especially when you get like all this attention and it helps you stay grounded and I can work through things in life. Um, I'm a nomad for sure. Like I like the term maverick. I've never been called that before, so thank you. But
Yeah,
yeah, I love life, man. It's fun just to see things. Like I like learning. So sometimes I'm not really into clubs or parties or anything like that, but I like the history of a place. When I went to Wales last year with PFL, when my friend Delano fought, I rode him like I'm with him all the time, when he's training, but I ride a motorcycle and I'm just meeting where all the locals went. And that stuff's cool to me. So I love people in general.
That's awesome, man. And by the way, if you want to take a few bites of your food or anything like that, don't let me make
Oh,
your
no, I'm sneaking to the sides. I don't want to chew on your podcast. I got out of training. I have to stay on the schedule, and I realized you train longer than I intend. So I'm like,
I appreciate you. Yeah, that's awesome, man. And oh, by the way, I just want to let you know, I'm a journalist with Verdict MMA, but this is
oh,
actually going to be the first podcast that I've done with a fighter for my own brand. So
hey, my man.
I really appreciate you for
Thanks for having
again
me
just
on.
for being so kind. I know that at the end, like I came up to you the first time we spoke, but then after the fight card ended, you actually tapped me on the shoulder and said, good seeing you or whatever. So, again, that just that, I remember those kinds of things. So,
Respect, man. I appreciate you. I feel like everybody's a human. It's like I think sometimes the athletes who do a poor job. I've probably done it too, where like you you think it's all about you, us. You think it's all about us,
mhm,
and then people feel like they're less than. And everybody's so excited that they forget we don't have cool conversations. Um, there are kids out there, there are people out there who pay their money, like they worked all week, and they're gonna have the worst week of their life. They're like all they're looking forward to is a PFL fight. They're not
right.
looking forward to like the next day they could have just lost somebody they love. I mean, you really don't know. Heartbreak. I mean, I've been there. Like we've broken people's hearts, we've broken our hearts, right? We've fallen short. Maybe you let somebody down, and you feel bad about yourself, or somebody let you down, they feel bad about themselves. Like the one thing you get that week is to watch some people throw down like that Shane Burgos fight, or Teammate Alexi who did great. Like you start seeing things, and I mean, sorry, I should respect the fight. It was Cassius Clay's fight, though he won, but like that back and forth fight was like people loved it. And that might have been the one thing that kept him going. So like, why would I go? Like, I don't want to ever go out and make people feel like, like that fighter's a jerk, and he's a butt. And I've been a jerk probably in my life to people at times too. So it's like, I don't want to live like that, right? So it's like
Mhm.
good to cut things off. And anytime I meet people who are like, it's like you're interested in what I do, like, I'm like, hey, thanks. I'm just like, what's up? People like, it makes me laugh because like I'm me. Like I'm happy. Like I told you, I've never gotten to be the famous fighter. Like I love to fight. So the fact that people want to write and want to talk and want to have conversations, I'm just like, hey, like what kind of food do you like? You see you got a cat, it's like, oh, what's a cat's name? Like that's a little bit more interesting than fighting, isn't it? But
Right.
people find like they find a passion about it, and then I'm just like, oh, like what's like not the least you could do. You should never go for the least you could do. You should have, what's the most you can do? Like, could you say hello? Could you talk to people? Then I was like, they become friends, and it's cool because like the UFC was awesome, PFL was awesome, and like I feel like the PFL like there's like a younger crowd because it's coming up, right? So people are kind of new in the MMA industry. People have wear multiple hats, and like they're all kind of like I'm 29, so some people are my age, a little bit younger. Some people are a lot older, a lot younger. So it's like you connect with people like in that middle ground. And you're like, dang, this is pretty cool what you're doing. And then I start hearing about their lives. Like, where are you from? I'm from around here. Still live with my parents. I'm like, okay. And you're like running a whole show on ESPN. Like, that's pretty cool. And they let me go down and take pictures. And I was like, oh man, like what they do is so challenging. So I don't know. I like people, man. It's like it makes me laugh because people want to ask about me. I'm like, what about you? And then people do some really, really cool things. I met a CEO of a CBD company and he's out there watching fights. It's like, that's just cool. We're just talking in general. So it's made me
I
happy.
mean, I think that's a little bit like, I think that's a little bit about of something that people forget about in these kinds of interviews and everything. Obviously there are so many uh, MMA fans and MMA journalists who are trying to make a name for themselves in this thing,
Yeah.
they all kind of blend together sometimes. And I think
Yeah.
that, what has Joe Rogan done to kind of like make himself a staple in this world? I think he just has a conversation with people, right? Like
Right.
he's not making it unnecessarily formal. He's just, talking to you, and the best content comes out of just a conversation when
Yeah.
people are just being honest with each other. And I really love that mentality of yours. And like you said, it's crazy that you're just 29. I mean, you got this full beard going. I feel like you could pass for anything between like 20 and like 45 with that thing. And I mean that
Hey, but
I mean that with with kindness, but yeah,
I'll
like I'm
take it.
26 years old, and
Yeah.
when we spoke, I was, I didn't see you as somebody who's like pretty much my age. I saw you as this like amazing fighter, right? So
Appreciate you.
sometimes we forget about that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But it's good to just keep in mind that we're all humans and we're all just trying to do our thing in this world. But
You're right.
so you mentioned that you grew up in the countryside of Okeechobee. I'm pretty familiar with the area. Have you ever gone to the festival before? Okeechobee
Where you
Festival?
from? Where you from?
I'm from Jersey, but in my past life, I used to go to a lot of like music festivals, like EDM shows and stuff.
Yeah.
I know that Okeechobee has a big production over there. I'm just wondering if you've ever gone to that or anything like
No,
that.
not yet. I forgot what it's called. It's like the Okeechobee Lake Festival or something like that, or something along those lines, like about the
Yeah,
whatever
I
the
think they just
festival
call
is.
it Okeechobee. Yeah,
Okeechobee. No,
yeah.
but so when I was a little kid when I grew up there, but maybe probably for like maybe 5, 6 years, almost before I was born.
Hmm.
But my nana, she's my grandma. She always said she's my white grandma. I call her my nana. I love that lady. I haven't heard from her in years, but um, she just made me grilled cheese, man. My papa he had chickens in his backyard. He loved NASCAR and stuff, and it was just fun being out there. But also, there's a rodeo right next to her house, and sometimes you could
Right.
see if you climb up to like the kids' playground she had in the back, or like in the tree in the backyard, or it was clear, like you could see like some of the people that get ready for the rodeo, which was really really cool. She had a dog named Buddy who got hit by a car, had 3 legs, but was like still excited about everything. My mom worked at a nursing home or hospital there, dirt roads. There were Native Americans like, nearby, and like it was cool like, meeting some of them. It was like a different lifetime of my life. And when I was a kid, I mean, I don't think I ever found it boring. I think I found it fun. It just had some
Hmm.
key memories and made my love for barbecue grow because my dad would when if I was like behaving or like as a reward or a treat, something like he would take me to this barn where they also butchered their animals and they made like fresh barbecue. Now you could smell it. I
Oh,
still smile about it because it's like
I
I'll never
smell it
forget
through
this.
the computer, man. I smell
You
that through
feel
the
it, right?
computer.
And if you know me, I love barbecue. And it's just like those memories. I look at my dad, he's in the front seat and he's always playing TD Jakes or some like Martian music or even some country music. And I'd sit there and talk to him. My dad's an amazing man. So it was like fun talking to him and hanging out with my family. My mom and I would like they would order fish, and this guy would like drive around this yellow Jeep, and he'd bring like you would just see his Jeep. He would just fish and fish for I don't know how long he fished for, but bring it and deliver it to people in the neighborhood. My best friend across the street from Canada. We had frogs all over our yard, a bunch of gators around. But it was just like some fun, cool memories. Like where I'm like, man, one day we had people coming over all the time. I don't remember her because I don't remember meeting my actual grandparents because I was so young. But my dad's mom lived with us for a little bit, and
Hmm.
it's like he was talking about it. I see pictures, and I can kind of remember the house. There's a vision of this old lady in my mind, like older lady, and like that's just like a good memory. So like the countryside for me is like always like has like a special place in my heart. And I have one funny story. My dad, there was a bunch of bees. I don't know if we were traveling, came back, and the bees built a hive. And he's just fighting with like in the screen. He's like, "Stay away, stay away," and just like some fun stuff. He is an engineer by education and all that, but he was also he loved teaching. He loves math and physics, and he taught at a prison, which was cool. And he loved the students there. My dad always liked people who felt like rejected or kind of lost. We got lost along the way. So it just it's kind of like all those memories are just about love. I don't think we had a lot at the time in our lives. Sometimes you have a lot, sometimes you have less. But like, I always just thought about, man, like I want my own ranch and farm one day. And my nana would always like we'd watch all these Disney movies like Fox and the Hound. Papa had his like gun case. I was like, man, this is cool. I guess he was a hunter. When I was a little kid, of course. Oh, funny enough, he had dip, and you got to go to that memory lane. He had a dip, and I said, "Can I have some candy? Can I have some candy?" He goes, "Call him." I was like, "No, you cannot have this candy." I'm like, "I want it." And so he's like, "All right, fine." And then he's like, "Don't swallow it." And I swallowed the dip. Oh my gosh, bro! I
Dip?
started, yeah, like chewing tobacco.
Oh no.
I started
Oh,
throwing up everywhere. He's
gross.
like, "I told you, I told you." And ever since then, I was like, "Nah, forget that." But like, you got me like, it was just so much fun, man. Like, I loved it there. I still love Okeechobee. I plan to go there soon. My grandma's buried there, so
Yeah.
that's kind of what it was like. And then back to the suburbs, back to the beach edge of towns. From middle school to art school, played music. And then I went to North Carolina, Mid Hill, back to the countryside. Smell like chicken crap everywhere, and like a bunch of bonfires and funny country.
What kind of music did you do in middle school?
Mm. So I went to middle school, the arts,
Hmm.
and played tuba, guitar, a lot of jazz, and trombone. So classical music. I was gonna go to art high school, but then we moved to North Carolina when I was a kid. I still played music there a little bit, and then got into choir. when I started college, I wanted to start as a music major. My African parents, you know, how immigrants' parents are, they're like, you're
Yeah,
not doing
yeah.
that.
They're like,
And then
no.
I kind of got out of it, but I still sang choir in college. So like, I've always liked the arts in general. I'm really grateful that my mom got me into it, and my dad, because I started because my mom started. She loves piano. She loves worship music, and so she sang in the choir at church, and then it became a thing where I was like, like I want to play. So I started taking guitar, bass lessons. I played bass guitar for the church's like worship team when I was a little kid, like in I feel like the youth program. So that's cool. Like it was like some memories of my life that I'm very appreciative of now that I don't know if I appreciated all the way back then.
Cool,
So
yeah, and I played saxophone growing up, so
yeah,
definitely familiar with that. I remember I wanted to play the drums, but the teacher at the time at my school was like, all the troublemakers play drums, so go play sax. So that's what I did. But anyways, so you mentioned that the church is really important to you, your religion.
yeah,
Um, and you mentioned that, music is a big part of your life. I'm wondering, what's your favorite music to listen to? I saw some Burna Boy on your fitness account.
yeah.
Do you listen to gospel music at all, or what's your vibe usually?
Man, I love all kinds of music. I like. This is a great question, actually. So I enjoy country music a lot because I like the stories it tells. Sorry, I'm trying to almost dropped this knife. Um, I love like Zach Bryan is probably one of my favorite artists right now. I just like the way he tells the stories. I really like Randy Travis. I love Burna Boy, Kid. Like I love like Afro beats, even EDM and all that. Like that stuff is cool. Like I think I just grew up like with a love for music. I really do enjoy worship music, like in general, to listen to. Like Elevation Worship Church I went to back home, Maverick City, like kind of popular ones. But I also like Alison Krauss, and she would just sing like these hymns and the way her voice is. And um, I love Adele. Um, what's it?
Adele, nice.
Yeah, oh my gosh, I probably sing any Adele song from top beginning to end. You'd be like, what was
I
listening to?
mean,
Let's go.
I mean,
If
you
that's
said you said you were in the choir, right? I mean, can I ask you for a performance right now? No, I'm
shoot.
just kidding. I'm just kidding.
We'll,
But
we'll, hey, but next time I see you, we're at a fight. We'll find a day to do a karaoke day.
all right, yeah, yeah,
We'll do
we got it. That would be awesome.
Very fun. We'll do it because shoot, when I got some PFLs, like let's go do karaoke this week in New York, and I was like, I'll do it. I love it. And I guess the place they went to, they didn't like it, and like they said, no, let's go somewhere else. And but it's just like like moments like that. That's why I love PFL. So you can just connect with people in general, right?
Right.
But I would have loved to do karaoke. I've been telling all my friends we'll do karaoke night. People keep pulling out, so maybe it might be you and I on the road.
Oh, dude, tap me in. I'm down.
All right,
I'll
all
take
right, let's
that
do
guy's
it.
spot all day. Yeah.
Come on, let's do it. You were
But
gonna do
anyways,
karaoke.
yeah. Tell me about your nickname. I don't want to mispronounce it. Shilobo?
Close. Hey, I appreciate the effort. Yeah, it's Chi Lobo. Yeah, you said it pretty much well.
What's the like what does that mean? What's the significance? I tried looking it up before this. I thought it was something in French maybe, but I couldn't really find
No, it's
find it.
actually my dad's native tongue, Chiluba. It's close to the name, but and my parents are they're from a city like New York City. So when I say tribe, it just traces back to their tribes. But they're like in Congo, it's like they're kind of like a New York City. They're city people,
Hmm.
but you trace it back in the day. So my mom's from Luba, my dad's Bantu, Kikongo. So um, when I had my first amateur fight, like you have to have a fight name. And I was like, oh, I thought they give you a fight name. I was like, I'm not picking my fight name, Dad. He's like, let me name you. And that meant a lot. So he's like, yes, I'll never forget. My parents were cooking collard greens in the kitchen in North Carolina, and they're like, I think we're having people over, so they're just trying to cook a bunch. And they're just having fun, like 12:30 in the morning. And I said, Dad, I need a name. He's like, oh man, I like this name. I thought about naming you this as a kid, Chilobo. I was like, what does that mean? He's like, king, like mighty warrior, like the top warrior. And the tribes would fight, and when you get that name, that's the name that's given to the warrior. So like you're the leader of all the warriors. So I wanted a way to blend my culture, my faith. So my dad gave it to me. He said, "Be mighty warrior under God." Right. So it's like that mighty warrior under God. Like I want to be the leader of all the warriors. Like if a couple of fights ago, somebody asked me a question like, "How do you think of like?" I would say, "How would I fight if I led heaven's armies?" In my mind, it's like, "How would I fight if I had to lead people?" And like, I don't want it to be. It doesn't matter about the weight class. It doesn't matter about anything. And that's like I always feel like I'm fighting to always make sure I earn my name. Right. And
Right.
it's like way on it. So my dad gave it to me. It's a way to blend my culture and um, my faith, and like I carry that name with a lot of honor.
Man, something, I love how intentional and meaningful you are.
I
It's
appreciate
like every step you're taking, every moment you're in, I'm not gonna say it's calculated, but what you're looking to do is you're looking to like take advantage of every moment you have, and like whether that's in life or in the cage, and that's something I really appreciate you, and that I've noticed in our conversation so far. So,
Thank you.
I know you grew up playing football.
Yep.
Uh, was football your first love? When did you start playing football? Tell me a little bit
Oh,
about your football journey.
I actually didn't start grow up playing football. I played my senior year of high school, and then I played in college. So I wasn't allowed to play sports. So being African, like immigrant, right? So like in our culture, like you don't. We say that the vagabonds did like sports. It wasn't like you could just go play football or soccer in Congo and then you go get a scholarship. Some people get pulled to Europe, but that's very few and far between. The way they knew like the athletes would kind of refer them to the villagers, the guys on the side. And my parents were like, no, like focus on school, focus on the arts. Where that's why I got into music, which I really think helped me become a better fighter. Has helped me become a better fighter. But I didn't grow up doing it, so I'd like sneak onto the football team. I tried when I was younger, and they're like, no, like randomly they let me play sports here and there. Like one day, one year tried, one of this, right? I was like, no, like I didn't grow up being. I was never grew up being an athlete, like in consecutive seasons or anything like that. And to my senior year of high school, I snuck on the football team. My parents, okay, like senior year, do it. And they ended up loving it. And my brother, he played college basketball at, sorry, in Navy and East Carolina. My sister just was about to go to West Point. So she plays volleyball, like, and she's the smartest one of us three. But my brother's a basketball coach at the University of Tennessee and in grad school. So it's like you start realizing like, man, like it's cool like you can like break through that. And my parents are awesome because just because they didn't know doesn't mean they weren't willing to learn, which I think is like a good thing for like all immigrant parents to know. Sometimes they have like people can stay stuck in their ways and they never give the kids the opportunity to flourish and
Right.
grow. But my parents, like, shout out to y'all, they encouraged all of us wholeheartedly. That translated into the house after I graduated college. Like I had a great accounting job, like great. Let's call Avid Exchange. When I left it, went back to this grocery store. My parents like, what? And I was about to get a promotion. So if I'm in the UFC in 2 years, I'll go back. And I started trading when I was 24. So I was like, was this a smart thing to do? Like, but man, my parents were just so supportive. And I could see like the fruits of their sacrifice and their trust in myself, us, what God has for us. And now, like they're honored because PFL's treating them so well. They're like giving them all this love when we were in San Antonio and like, now go get this title. So that's cool.
That's crazy. Yeah. And I want to go back a little bit because I'm just so interested by this. So you started playing football your senior year of high school and you got a scholarship your senior year of high school, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you must have gone off in that first year. What position did you play?
Played all over, mostly like outside linebacker, a little bit of running back. I got blasted once because I get back to defense. Yes, sir. Coach Bellissimo, my man, love him.
Shout out.
Shout out to him. Don't tell you if he grabbed my face and that's one practice, like, I expect you to be great and do this. It's like, it really got my heart. But I remember going to that summer. It was the sun, and him, he just taught me how to play football. I remember the first time I put football pads on, I got the pads stuck because my chest was getting tight. I was like, I can't get this thing off. I don't know what to do. And I went my teammates to like step on it and like loosen it and open it up. And I was like, I got to figure this out. But yeah, shout out to my parents. They really supported that. Came to all the games, all the ones that they could. I'm pretty sure they came to everything.
What did that recruitment process look like? I mean, like what were you doing before playing um football your senior year? Like did you have a plan of
Uh,
of where you wanted to go to college? Was that always the plan to go to college?
yeah, for sure. Plans to go to college. Like, oh, I had no choice. I told my parents like I wanted until like my sophomore year, maybe even junior. I don't remember what year I stopped playing band, but I wanted to play tuba professionally or trombone like in jazz bands, and
Wow.
go to like I wanted to go to
Like a music school?
yeah, I wanted to go to Berkeley, wanted to go there or some like or any musical school I could get into, um, whether it was choral or I was going to go to the East Carolina came to our school to our choir, and like they were willing to give like scholarships to people who were like in our advanced choir. But I wanted to like study music and whether it was teach it or perform like in groups or play like in the bands or something. I didn't really know, but I really, really love jazz. And I was like, man, it'd be so cool to challenge myself to like go move to New Orleans and do that. So that was like really my route. And my dad and I were talking in the kitchen, and I said, "Hey, so what do you want to do? Like, what are you gonna do?" He's like, "I'm gonna play music." He's like, "What?" I'm gonna play tuba and band. And my dad never swears, but in his language, tufi means shit. He looks around the house. Tufi. I'm like, "What do you say? Like, what does that mean?" He's like, "You're my first son. You can do like this." And he and I were in tears, laughing so hard. He's like, "But please don't do me like that." He's like, he says his heart going. He's like, "Don't do me like that." I said, "Okay, Dad." But he's like, "Play your music, but please get it like something." So I went to my uncle, who means a lot to me. He's a CPA. He recently retired. I did great work. I was a part of PricewaterhouseCoopers, all that stuff, and the top accounting firm in the world. All these cool things. But he really changed my life. Like he let me live. I lived with him when I was a kid. When I first moved to North Carolina, and he was just so impactful. I saw he took care of the family. So okay, like I'll get into accounting, whatever. And he said you can still play music and it still goes great, right? Um, but I went to took a visit to Appalachian State, looked at it. It's beautiful in the mountains. I wanted to start getting into like getting outdoors more because I didn't really go. My parents really going outdoors, but I was always interested in like camping, farming, like being
Mhm.
out there. So I figured that school would be cool because it'd be like a mix. I wanted to go to the University of Alabama. And then when I started playing football, things started changing because I started picking schools based on football. I still want to go like, to the big schools and stuff, but I needed experience. I needed to be a better player. But I knew I was like an athlete. I always like to work out. So it was like, let's figure this out. But yeah, so that happened, man. And then I always thought I was going to take a musical route. I love choirs in general. I love music. So people was like, you listen to everything because like every music tells a different, it like talks to the soul in a different way. I just don't talk about it a lot because I don't know. But I got back, I'm like playing guitar again, back playing, uh, taking more lessons like personally for fun. Shout out to my instructor Jordan. All these shout outs today. But yeah, man, I love it. So I think it'd be fun to do some open mic nights, travel to fights, bring a guitar, and just like chill with my team and just like get around like a kind of campfire ish, and play music. That's happiness to me. So
That's amazing, man. I don't think I didn't think I could. I don't think I found that anywhere where you initially wanted to be a musician. That's
I never
amazing.
talked to anybody about it. That's actually
That's
probably kind of like a sore subject. Actually, I think I was so sad. I got into this really good art high school called Dreyfus,
uh-huh.
and I also got an opportunity to go to move somewhere like in the New England area. I think it was Connecticut. There's a boarding school that came, and I tried out. I got in, but then my family moved like right under the best circumstances. But we had moved to North Carolina, and like that's kind of where music was kind of like not fading away because I still got to play when I got to the next school, but it
Hmm.
wasn't like a structured art school program. We went to music competitions, and like we're in middle school, but playing against like high school and community college uh, bands, and we were winning and doing great. And it was fun, like first chair too. But like my professor, Mr. Maloon, was so awesome, taught me tuba, and he was so hard on me. And it's funny, a quote I still use. He said, "Your toughest coach in your life is going to be yourself, not anybody that teaches you." And that always like stuck with me. And I could focus so hard on music that like school would maybe would take a hit. But my dad being a teacher, he always like got on me about it. Like I remember playing and playing and playing in my room. I was like, "Why are you practicing?" I'm like, "Mom, I need to be the best." Like that was always like a thing, and like I need to be the best. I don't want to be a great okay two player. And like when I hear music and I hear trumpets and I hear people like my whole life, like, the more money I make, the more opportunities I'll do to just like learn music, and I enjoy it for what it is. Like whether I'm on a stage or in my room or in a bathroom, like I love music. Like I don't know if I'm the best voice in the world or the worst voice in the world, but I just love and I love worship music. So I'd like to play in my church one day, like and worship God with it, or like we'll start serving with the youth ministry. So maybe playing in that. Like just feels like it's like, man, I think about all these people, like my guitar teacher when I was in middle school, because he played in the band at church. I played with him, but I played bass, he played guitar. He was so awesome. He was so talented too. Like, I hope he's still doing well. I don't know where he is, but gosh, he could play. And that to me was just so cool. Like I love listening to it. But I think of fighting like in rhythms, like I can change the rhythm, manipulate it. Like so,
Hmm.
I just love music in general. So yeah, and I guess it was such a sore subject for me that I never talked about it until probably today, the first interview. Maybe I talked about it once, but not like this. And for me, music is like it's awesome. And if you see me walking around anywhere, unless I'm like at a fight or in an interview talking to people, like I'm probably having a headphone in my ear, and it could just be literally guitar solos. It could be classic. It could be rock. It could be. I'm not really into heavy metal, but like trying to hear like those rhythms, like in syncopations, I like it. But country music, I was like, man, like they're really thinking about it. So, taking some songwriting lessons right now because it's like just fun. I think it's interesting to learn like how people put like poems and words and thoughts and like concepts together.
And
It keeps
and
me
that's a potentially a career that you can, try to pursue after you finish what you need to do in the fight game, right? I mean,
maybe,
there's
yeah,
no time limit on being an artist.
right, yeah. There's no time limit, man. Shoot, God blesses me where my wife is out there,
Hmm.
where she is. When I like, if she wants me to play for her, I'll do it too. Or for like my kids one day, they have kids, like I'll play for them, and I'll feel like I'm like playing on Broadway, playing at Opry, at the Grand Ole Opry, or playing in the Madison Square Garden. I'll feel like that. I'm like, this is great. But I don't know, music just brings people together, and I'm kind of happy that it kind of stopped the way it did, but then also like this resurgence of love for it. And like, I'm gonna make myself learn. Like probably gonna go back to Guitar Center before I get home today and just practice some more. But I love music. I think there's something special about it.
And you mentioned whoever your wife may be out there. I know you're traveling a lot. It's probably really hard to like hold a relationship down in the with your lifestyle. But tell me a little bit about that. Are you seeing anybody? What's that looking like? Can
Right. Is that, you
yeah.
get a lady like yelling?
No, I can hear it.
You
What?
hear, you hear the person yelling in the background?
No, we got a
Oh, good,
Karen.
good. Somebody's yelling. I think she works here.
Oh, I hear her a
Oh,
little bit.
sorry. I think she's talking to somebody overseas. You know how we know when our parents talk to somebody overseas and he yelling?
Hmm.
Sorry, what
Yeah.
was your question again?
I was just wondering, for any of the ladies, any of the three MMA fans who are women out there, just wanted to know if you're seeing anybody or what's
No,
your
I'm not seeing anybody. No,
yeah.
I'm seeing. I'm definitely. I was like to say singles and Pringle, but no, not seeing anybody. I'm focused on fighting, but I mean, I'm pursuing and looking. I think it's funny. Like, I was on my pitch to say, hey, I'm out there. It's like, hey, I'm definitely single. That's funny.
Hell
No,
yeah, man, hell yeah, no, that's awesome.
give me a shout out. Maybe I'll meet somebody from New Jersey.
Hey, hey.
Hey, hey.
I don't know if you want to do that to yourself, New Jersey girls. No, but
I don't want any problem. I'm not trying to get attacked. See, that's
yeah,
funny.
no. I got a lot of love for New Jersey. A lot of people talk shit. I feel like I need to defend New Jersey a lot more than I'd like to, but
Yeah.
at the end of the day, it's where I grew up. Probably similar to you. I mean, I have a lot of love for where I came from and
Mm-hmm.
where I grew up, but it's not like I want to like live there the rest of my life. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for
Um,
sure. Fair enough.
but you know, uh, do you have a hard stop at any time? I just want to be conscious of your time.
No, not really. I'm pretty good. Like for the next 20 minutes or so, but I'm chilling. Let me see
All
where my
right,
batteries are. I can run my
cool.
car and grab my portable. It says I have 13%, so I'm
Okay.
pretty good. Pretty good. Yeah. So yeah,
I
man,
just
just like
want to make sure I leave time to talk fights because we've just been talking about life this whole time, but
yeah,
I love
yeah,
it.
yeah. We can talk fights. I'm all for it.
Awesome. So before I go to fighting, my buddy, he looked into your football history a little bit. He just wants
Yeah,
to know, did you play with Kyle Duggar by any chance? And
yeah.
yeah, you did.
We played with Kyle Duggar at Lenore Ryan. But
Hmm.
he almost came to my fight in Atlanta, but he had to go back up to New England to get ready. But yeah,
For sure, for sure.
I like Kyle.
Any other football players that we might know?
Yeah, for sure. It's just like a lot of guys I went to JUCO with probably in the league now,
Right.
or
Yeah.
a few I've played against. There's a kid, Tufi Gilmore. He played with my little brother. Well, that's his Instagram name, but um, he played basketball with my little brother. Stephon Gilmore's little brother. He plays for the Lions, right? He had an interception.
Yeah.
Um,
Do you have a team you follow?
Austin Pro, wide receiver,
Okay.
played high school together.
You do
Um,
you have a team you follow?
the Panthers and the Dolphins. It's funny I don't really watch football anymore like that, like I used to.
Yeah, you give me that vibe, honestly. Like I know there are some athletes who like don't watch the sport that they play, and you give me that vibe. Do you watch MMA? Are you an MMA
I
fan?
love fights. Yeah, I love fights in general. I love boxing, MMA. I don't really watch it like I used to just because of my schedule. I'd love to.
Hmm.
I love to sit down, like relax, chill. Like sometimes I used to watch a lot of fights by myself in the room, so I used to projector it and just watch them.
Right.
I enjoy it. It's just like I gotta really work that into my schedule because usually I'm training a client, working, doing something
Hmm.
else like Wealth, the financial services company that I work with. I'm doing, playing music. I just like I'll go ride my motorcycle. I like to be outdoors a lot, so sometimes I'm just like, I'll catch that fight later. But I do watch a lot of old school fights. That my coach and I text each other about fights all the time. So boxing, something to learn, something to take from. Of course, opponents. Like I love fights. I just don't get to watch them as much. I started getting this love for college football, kind of itching back in. At least the
Yeah.
highlights. It's like the cool cinematic type reels. So I'm like, oh, I
Hmm.
don't know. Am I gonna watch a game? But I really want to see like a high school game. I like to see like high school kids get after because you could like that kid one day is gonna change his family's life. I think the
Right.
stories behind it are cool, but nah, like when I stopped playing football, I was so into it. I think I was like, okay, I'm good. I think I gave them all.
For sure. Yeah. And if you're getting back into college football, you should check out that documentary on Netflix, the Tim Tebow, the Florida Gators one. I just finished that
I need to
one.
see that
Yeah,
one.
not
How
bad.
is it? Good.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I'm just a big fan of all those like 30 for 30 type documentaries. They're coming out with a lot of them now. I'm not much of a golf guy, but I even watched like the golf one on Netflix. But
Yeah.
anyways, back to you. I want to talk about fighting a little bit. So, let's start at the beginning. You started out your amateur career. You had a great run in the amateur circuit, and then you came across Brian Battle, who's
Yeah.
tough winner, UFC guy. We all know Brian. So tell
Yeah.
me a little bit about that fight, and early on in your career, what did you learn as an amateur?
Yeah, man. So when I was an amateur, man, great coach, great gym. I started a place called Myrmidon, actually technically in Hickory, right near my college, a place called Atlantic MMA. Happened to
Hmm.
walk in, it was cool. Went to a place called Myrmidon. 3 weeks later, took my first fight. I was like, hey, yeah, I'll do
Wow.
it. I was grateful. Joe Hurst, Nick Rodriguez, Tommy DiBernardo, like friends, like guys, local guys in the North Carolina region. Super cool. Like brought me along. John Cacavitas, who's the owner of the gym. Thank
Hmm.
you to everybody there, to all the people that just like that my family. I still talk to those people to the day, pretty much, like here and there. Man. So yeah, I started there. Then I found a gym called Jimmo, Coach Jeff Jimmo, great coach. They didn't have a lot of training partners there, so like I would train every day, but Scott Holtzman would come in, Brian Barberino would come in, but it would be like John Salter just like, but they were there all the time. So it was like,
Yeah.
and they were different classes too. So I needed that like consistency, especially early on. But yeah, so won my first few fights, I think 3 fights in a row. I can't remember. Brian was either the third fight or the fourth. But man, learned a lot. I learned that I needed to listen.
That you need to
Brian's awesome.
listen.
Yeah. So like Brian's awesome grappling. Like, and I just kept going forward and getting like taken down and didn't have that like takedown defense. Yeah, I didn't have that. I didn't have that grappling sensitivity. I needed more and more reps, but also I needed to fight better. Like I just needed that fight. I did not fight how I needed to, and Brian nullified it. He did what he needed to do, and also like he was acting submissions. I was like, I'm not going anywhere. Then I calmed down. The fight and coach was like, listen. He said like this blank stare on my face. I'm just like, you're not listening. and then I started like taking over. I was like, oh, this is cool. I started striking. I was like, oh, opened up, and coach was like, if you fought like that, I'll fight you with a one. But it was cool because that fight inspired me to like go so heavy into my grappling. Not that I wasn't into it, without skipping any grappling sessions, but it made like me focus differently every single day. My friend Dakota Dyer and I went on the wall, went on the wall, went on the wall. I remember that fight was weird too because they didn't wrap my hands. They said you go out, rush you, they said go back, all these different things. And I wasn't at that time prepared for like internally. I wasn't organized or disciplined or mature enough to handle what I was in, even though God called me there. And I should have let myself go into it, just like take it. So it's cool because it was a title fight actually, the amateur title,
Hmm.
whatever that means, right? But I look back and reflect on that moment to say, then I wasn't handling it well. Now I'm prepared and ready. I draw from that, and I'm grateful because like now, like November 24th to claim my first world title, with the people I love. I'm really grateful for that moment and how to own the moment, how to learn through it. I went to training the next day and I was intense, sharp. And that really was like one of those things that kicked it off. Like I didn't lose a fight until the Buckley fight from that fight.
Right.
Right. And then like that really, helped me out. Every single thing would find me. It's like now like I keep claiming victories nonstop forever.
And
And
I don't think people remember that you were winning that first. I thought you won the first round of that Buckley fight. So
appreciate you, man. See, that's
yeah,
not everybody watches it.
yeah.
Like
So
this.
yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, with that fight, I'm sure people have asked you about that fight millions and millions of times, so we don't have to go through it too deep. But
It doesn't bother me at all.
in my opinion, you just got caught by somebody by a kick that has never been thrown before, and like obviously it was an incredible highlight reel kick. But at the end of the day, like who would have expected that? I mean, you did the right thing. You caught his foot, right? Right. So,
so
yeah.
grateful for that moment, man. So grateful.
But yeah. So then but then after your amateur career, you went to the Contender Series. You got a UD win. Dana wasn't, fully satisfied with that win, so you had to go back on the Contender Series. I really liked that second fight that you had on Contender. You definitely lost that first round, but then you came back and got a 10-8 in that third round, right? So, so at the end of the day, I think that's what got you the contract. You were looking to finish the fight at the end of the third round. So, tell me a little bit about that experience with Dana White's Contender Series, and just having, I don't know, 6 pro fights under your career coming into Contender.
Yeah, I think that was my 6th, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, what's it called? So, yeah. So, first Contender Series fight, right? First year as a pro. Pretty much first year of training too. Like I was just like probably a year into training at that time. I would say like 8 months into training almost. I don't know. But like being like training in May, so it's fun. Like,
Yeah, you were 2
fights.
months into the sport, 2 years into the sport.
Yeah, it's my second year. Yeah, right. So
yeah,
it was cool. But I mean, if you look at the decision on YouTube, like when Dano's like making his decision, we're all sitting there. He goes, "Hey, this kid's gonna be top 5 in the world one day. I believe one day world champion. Any of you other organizations want to sign him? Sign him. We're sure he'll be back."
right.
And that was a cool moment. It's on YouTube, and that inspired me because I remember I cried like I never did before. That was like, oh, that hit me. I was like, gosh, I thought I got it, right? Beat the #1 prospect. I was like, plus at a time 750 underdog, all these different things. I was like, all right, go get this. And I was going to finish him. I was working for it, right? Kalen Hill's a good fighter. And then my coach always told me, like, you earned it, but you didn't get it. And that's okay. Yeah. And then I had 11 fights drop between that first Contender and the next one because they told me to get more experience in fights, and I got it. But man, it made me work. I remember hitting the bag till like 1 a.m., staying in the gym, like sleeping in the car outside the gym so I could make it to my coach's training session in the morning, then go to church, and then come back and train again or go home after bouncing the night before. Like, whatever I could do. But I was so happy, really grateful when I look back at that because it really challenged me to be better. The first one was cool because I remember when Dana said, I was like, okay, I will be world champion. I said, watch me, right? So if I knew if I signed anywhere else, cool. And I didn't care if the UFC, Bellator, at the time, World Series of Fighting before it became PFL, like one championship always was around then. But all I knew was like, I'm going to become a champion. And that's it, right? So now I look at that moment, I'm like, man, I'm going to draw from that's like.
That's really powerful, man. Yeah, I mean, it sounds like that moment really like kind of pushed you to work even harder and hitting the bag till 1 a.m. I mean, that's amazing. And you've fought as low as at 170. You fought most of your fights at 185, but now you're challenging for the title at PFL at 205. So where do you feel most naturally at? Like what weight class do you feel most comfortable at? And does 205 present any like additional challenges for you?
Every weight class has its own challenges. I don't know. Wait, one second. Let's stay here. Let's run in my car.
No problem.
So I can get my charger for you. But we're gonna talk while we walk.
Oh, do your thing.
Hey, I just want to go to my car and get my charger. Oh, are these iPhone chargers?
Yeah, I have one over here.
Do you mind if I plug it over there? Mr. Warm on the phone, is that okay? Hey, look at that. Thank you, man. Appreciate you. How about that? So, cool. This is a cool restaurant. I don't know. I'm somewhere in Miami, right by the boxing shop.
Give it a plug. Plug it. Plug the restaurant.
I'll find the name if I have no clue. I just kind of walked in. But I'm gonna give them a plug. Shout out to this restaurant for being so cool. They have a thing that says coffee is our vitamin. I like that. Not a big
Coffee is
drinker,
our vitamin.
but that's cool. How about that? We got juice now. We can talk for days.
There we go. I gotta.
See?
The time was running out on our interview because I don't have a Zoom Premium, so I had to like quickly buy Zoom Premium while we were like on.
This guy, we're just making adjustments today. I like that. Coming up. That's what we were talking about before I got all flustered.
Sorry, what'd you say?
So what were we just talking about before I got all flustered? I'm like,
I was just talking about what weight class do you feel most comfortable at, and what challenges do you see at 205?
Man, it's interesting. Like, I guess you could say like I feel most comfortable at 205, natural walk around, but it's like it didn't matter what I was in the fight. I was like, oh, this is great. Like, I never felt like tired. I've never felt like these guys were more powerful or faster.
Mm-hmm.
Even like guys now, like I knew the guys were 45 and still faster than I see it. Like it's not like a comfortable thing. I've realized I believe like more like dominant and significant success at 205. I also give that credit to being at a great gym, having great coaching before at Jimbo, and everybody's helping me. But like it's coming together, right? Because like it's either like people look at it, oh, it's the weight class, or I think it's like that. God's blessing me to be a great fighter. I still don't want to like pat myself on the back that I'm the greatest fighter yet because I have so much to earn and learn and grow. Like I see myself as the greatest. I see myself as like when it's all said and done, the greatest fighter all time. Like that's how I challenge myself, like expect of myself. I strive to be every single day the best fighter in the gym, the best fighter in the world, the best. Like everything is like going towards being the best. And if I'm slacking somewhere or lacking somewhere, my coach has challenged me to be better. Well, I think it's also like a big guy gave me a gift to fight, and also that I'm putting more time and effort into it. So it's like it's starting to come together. Because I believe if I was at 85, I'd still be doing the same thing. If I was 70, I'd be doing the same things. I would have to like make adjustments in my weight, right? And that was about it. But like I can still make 85, and I can still make 70 today, right? I mean, 70 is obviously more of a struggle because I didn't cut weight my whole life. Also, too, like I had to be more professional in certain things, like with my diet, where it's like when I played college football, the biggest I was 245. The next I was 235. When I started college football, I was 196. I'm still learning my body as an athlete. Like most people grow up with like by the time they're my age, 29, they've been doing sports for 24 years at 5 years old. I've been in athletics since I was 18, and then college football, and then like tail end of college football, I was like kind of on the bench, so I'm not like depending on like positions. And then fighting at 24, like I didn't grow up wrestling, I didn't grow up doing jiu-jitsu, so I didn't have any rep boxing, I didn't have any thing to draw from. But now it's like these collective years of an expedited process of me learning my body and who I am and being around great coaches and training partners and mentors like Jonathan Logan, my mentor, but also like there's a lot of strength conditioning, Dr. Peak. I'm like, okay, like, and I learn. So, gosh, with Coach Jeff Jimbo, Coach Dieter, was on me. Lens. Like you start putting these great minds together, and it's like I'm starting to get like, molded into who I need to be. So it was never, once I was in the fight, I was never uncomfortable or worried or anything. It was just like understanding myself in training. Because I remember one time I was wrestling. I don't know if you wrestled, but my coach said switch, and it's actually a move in wrestling. And I thought switch meant like switch partners. So I stood up and just walked away. I was like, okay, I got my partner off me. And I was like, all right, Quizzer, what are you doing? I'm like, you said switch. I said switch. So I thought he kept yelling switch. I was like, oh. And I walked away. He's like, no, switch means like, let me teach you what a switch is. Like that's how like ignorant I was. I've been to like learning things, but I feel like I'm like a kid, because every day I'm like, oh, this is cool. Like I don't even do this. Like my body can do this, and start learning things. So I don't know if it's a weight class that's better, but it's like I'm becoming more. Like the more I go to battle, the more the war becomes home, and I like that. So it's like
I love
once
that.
I'm in there, like yeah. So like it's like now like I even want to watch the fights this weekend, or sorry, Wednesday, this week. On Wednesday, like I'm watching, like okay, like it becomes so peaceful because I was never nervous for a fight. I've never been like, oh, jittery or like that. But it's like I love being in there. Now it's like I feel like I'm walking into my house. So it's kind of fun learning the other perspective, taking pictures, how fight operations go. Because you kind of like, if you really, really know your house, like who knows a house better than the architect, right? So it's like
Mhm.
people who designed it, and it's like when you start realizing you can understand it from like outside the fishbowl, you can understand it from inside the fishbowl. I believe you understand how you can like dominate it everywhere, and that's become something I'm learning and investigating right now. And yeah, it's like so it's almost weird to say like, do I feel more comfortable in a weight class? I don't know. I think I credit to my coaches, training partners, mentors. Thank you God. The work we're putting in, like so I don't want to say I'm putting in like the work we're all collectively putting in that I get to be a part of and do my role in it. That's what's making it look like I'm so comfortable in there. At the
Right.
same time, it's just like I'm in a solid spot.
And you talked about transitioning from Jimmo to Killcliff.
Yeah.
You know, when we see a fighter go from a smaller camp to a bigger team like Killcliff, it seems like a no-brainer to us as fans.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm sure it must be a really difficult decision to make for you, not
Mm-hmm.
just to leave your team that helped you to get to where you are, but also, you know, to completely relocate and all of the
Yeah.
details that comes with that. So, tell me a little bit about how that decision played out. And, you know, you mentioned you're still, you know, on good terms with people from Jimmo, but were they a
Yeah.
little bit disappointed to hear it? Was
Yeah, I
it?
think so. In the beginning, it's like a breakup. You know, it's like a relationship where,
Mhm.
man, like I love Coach Jim Ryan, and like, shout out to him. Like I was considered him like a second dad at the time of my life. It was very, very challenging. I want to say hard. It was challenging to leave, but I knew I needed to. And like, I'm learning now, like in faith, like being obedient is a lot more important than just what we feel. I felt like I never wanted to leave. Like I felt like I never wanted. Like I'm not leaving this gym ever. At the same time, I knew something in my heart was pulling me like, you need better. Even before the Buckley fight, this is not why I lost the Buckley fight. I lost the Buckley fight due to lack of discipline, and he executed a great kick or strike. When I look back on it, though, it's like I remember saying, "Hey, I need training partners who can beat me up." You know, like Brian Barbary and I, we were best friends, and I was like, but he wasn't there. You know, he wasn't there as far as like training all the time. He had surgery, you know, he needed his things, but it's like also as well, like he wasn't there all the time because he lived in another state, so like just physically he couldn't be there every single day.
Right.
And like diligence wise, like you need guys like in all aspects. Coach Jim was an amazing, intelligent coach. At the same time, it's like you can lead a horse to water, but you need the other ones to help like train and run and like the jockey's not going to run alongside the horse and challenge him to run. It's going to be the other horses that are going to help him get better. Like the thoroughbreds need to be together to go. We had guys like coming into practice like 40 minutes late, people not showing up. Like
Mhm.
it was just not the best environment to be in, which
You
is
wanted the
disappointing.
discipline.
Yeah,
You wanted to be around like-minded people who
and that's why I love Scott Holtzman. You
committed.
know,
Yeah.
yeah, 100%. Sorry, man, cut you off.
No, no, no.
Um,
I think I
yeah,
cut
that's
you
what
off.
I needed. That's what I needed. And Scott Holtzman really inspired me, man. He's such a professional. He's such a guy that like really, really carries himself and everything. And I'm still challenged by him. I remember when I was an amateur, I called him on the phone 2 hours on the phone. I think he was in Arizona at the time, maybe Tennessee, and sat and let me just talk to him and talk. And I wrote through this whole journal about what he was teaching me.
Mhm.
And that was incredible because I was like, man, like, thank you. So it challenged me. Then I got to go help Jared Cannonier get ready to fight Anderson Silva, you know, or like probably after my second or third pro fight. My second and third pro fight were literally back to back weeks, like a week after the other week. So it was like right after those fights, stayed in Arizona for a few months to coach Crouch at the lab because I was helping Jared for his camp. That was like, wow. I mean, I remember seeing Sean O'Malley train when he was like kind of fresh off the contender series, young guy, just super cool guy. Shout out to him getting his title. But it was just like, we didn't train together, but we talked here and there. Him and his coach, Tim Welch, were always super nice and cool. Benson Hendrick. You started seeing people like really build their lives with this. And I was like, there's something different here that I'm not seeing at home. So
Right.
it kind of planted that seed. Then when I went to Sanford at the time, but now Kill Cliff, which was Sanford at the time,
Right.
I was like, oh, I went for like a couple of days and I said, this is where I need to be for sure. Challenging. I mean, you walk in the room, you have Phil Hawes, Gregory Rodriguez, Brandon Allen,
Who's
um,
who?
Yeah, yeah, the
Yeah,
guys
like
that,
a who's
yeah,
who
you're
of
like
the of middleweights. Yeah,
fighting, right? And you're just like, okay, and I'm just talking about just getting wrecked left and right, like
right.
working Jason Jackson and Bellator, Delano Taylor coming up young.
The ass kicking machine, Jason
Yes, yeah,
Jackson.
you know the man. It's like God, super, super influential in my life. Vicente Luque, Gilbert Burns,
Hmm.
Herbert Burns, um, Ong Song. Like you're walking the room, you're like, okay, like turn up with these killers. Tyrone Spong's in there every time. God rest his soul. Rumble Johnson was in there a little bit before,
Right.
he went to heaven. Like, I'm trying to
He
think of
was
all the people.
Rumble was the guy going from 205 to 170 before you were.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He started. He did it. That's when I
Yeah.
say one of the nicest things I ever heard my coach say. Is that you kind of reminding him of Rumble, and that's a big honor because when I talked to Rumble for a little bit, like I never got to know him as much as other guys did,
Hmm.
right? And my coach like Sean Soriano was like super tight with him. All these guys, like I wasn't as connected to Rumble as everybody else because they had that time to develop a relationship with him,
Hmm.
but we did have some fun. And he always called me Kunta, and he'd always shoot a blow dart at me or something. Like we would joke around. I was like, I called him Toby.
So
Excuse me.
that's always that. Oh, you good?
Yeah,
That's
joking on
always
bacon.
that's always something that's been super interesting to me is hearing just like anecdotes about different fighters' experiences in different gyms and who people train with and things like that. I think that's really interesting to the fans too.
Yeah.
So we know that Kill Cliff has a lot of killers that are making their way in the UFC. We see Brendan Allen making a great run in the right now. We see Gregory Rodriguez just got back on the right track with the first
Cop,
round
yeah.
knockout. I also love how Gregory Rodriguez, whenever he tweets, sometimes he'll put the hashtag Obama because everybody says he looks like Obama. But anyways, so one thing that I think fans would love to know is like who are some of your favorite training partners, and also can you tell me anybody in the gym who we don't know yet, but we're gonna in the future?
Yes. So I was about to say before that last one, I didn't mean to not mention Aaron Jeffrey. That's one of my best friends, brother. He fights
Hmm.
in Bellator, close to the title soon.
Aaron
One of my
Jeffrey.
probably the favorite, one of my most favorite training partners. We just go and we challenge and we work. People was like, he looks like you guys hate each other, but then you guys want to go get food together or go to church or like you talking like it's like nothing. Like he's a grinder. He worked.
He's
He's a killer
Canadian,
too.
right?
Yeah, yeah, the mullet.
Yeah, you can't hate a Canadian guy.
I don't think he can, right? Sorry. I enjoy training with Gregory. Gregory challenges me. Delano and I, like that's funny. We train, we laugh, talk crap. Jason Jackson, so crafty, so intelligent. He's almost like some of my favorite partners to go with. Phil Haas when he was at the gym. We have Logan Storley there. I really respect his wrestling, So we don't train as much probably because I'm a different weight class or
Hmm.
just like the way camps are set up. But there was a time that Bob been very pivotal in my growth. Guys that are coming up, Landry Ward, he fought an LFA card. They call him the Lone Star Kid, talented, working hard. Angel Alvarez, Elvin Espinoza. People know him. He fights in PFL, but he's still on his way up. Mitch McKee, Minnesota wrestler. The guy Michael Blockus made his first debut with Bellator, first fight ever,
Hmm.
crushed it. What's his name? Alexi fought on that PFL card. This is
Right.
fourth pro fight. Came from boxing background. On his way up, you have guys like there's some kids like Nikita. Nikita's a killer. And you wait till you see me fight this one pro fight from Russia. Awesome guy. Abdelaziz, with these other amateurs, Islam. We have a kid named Sear, slick striking, man, like works Coach Lancelot and other coaches. I'm probably missing like 14 other people. Like I'm trying to run off the top of my head to get them some like shout outs and love, but you
No,
see
you
guys like
definitely dropped a lot of awesome names, a lot of people we know and a lot of people we don't.
yeah. Oh, wait till you see the young crew, the young guys like these like the guys from like Eastern Europe, Tajikistan, Russia, like some of the American kids who are like really young. Like you're gonna see like a whole wave of fighters from Kill Clip. People like so long as they stay, you can do some special things. So like it gets me excited, man. Like I don't know. It's like I say MMA is my ministry, and like I have a heart for people who are younger and just see them do things, and it's like cool to see where they're gonna go because I'm like, dog, y'all are gonna do some killers. Like Richie Savage, right? Wrestler, big wrestler from the Jersey area, figuring it out, coming on his way up, just had a dominant win. He coached on the Ultimate Fighter. Like you see in some guys, you're like, man, you guys are doing some special things, and you had a great time where MMA is like taking off. So it's cool. Cool.
You all right?
I'll never eat bacon on a podcast again.
Get this man a doctor. You good?
Or good. I got one. Or good.
Awesome. Yeah. No, yeah, yeah. I mean, that's cool too. Yeah, I know, we saw Usman as a wrestling coach on the Ultimate Fighter before we even knew him as a fighter, right? So
Oh yeah,
so,
I don't know that.
Yeah. I'm working on an article right now. It's gonna I'm ranking all the Ultimate Fighter seasons.
Sorry.
No, you're good. You're chilling.
God, the bacon got me. Oh gosh. Oh man. Like a dry piece of bacon.
Dude, you've been given a great interview. You know, you're like eating and talking at the same time. I don't blame you, man.
I tried it with the other plate. Oh god.
Let me know when you're all right. Take your time.
Sorry. What if somebody try to get me I'm doing right now? This is the first time this ever happened on an interview.
Yeah.
Hey.
The headline for this interview is gonna go Impa Kasanganay cries on camera.
That's on camera, right? Cooking on bacon. Oh.
No, just kidding. But
It's like called click bacon.
absolutely crushed that water. Okay. So
We're back. Thank you.
So where were we? Oh yeah, so I wanted to just ask you about you know, I'm here in Jersey, so I'm not as familiar with how it feels to kind of be at Killcliff and kind of be in a rivalry with ATT. So tell me a little bit, you know, I know your opponent Josh Silvera, he trains out of ATT. So does that add another layer to your fight coming up, or are you not even thinking about that?
No, I don't. I think that's more of a distraction than anything. Like I respect it. Like I'm glad to represent my team no matter what. But most importantly, I seek my validation from God. It's like I gotta honor God and do my job. I do my job, everything comes with it. I don't even care or focus so much on the belt or the money. It's like there's a battle to go to, there's a war to go to, and I go claim the victory. That's it. Everything else that comes with it, that's what it's written about. That's where like you come in. That's where like the journalists come in. They say, look at that historic bout. And I think that one day it would be considered a big part of MMA history, whether it's like massive or it's like a shift in MMA. I don't see them as rivals. I believe we're greater or better. I think that they have awesome fighters. I like a lot of guys from there. I fought a guy from there. Then different other, and I fought people under different ATT like affiliates. You know, I think it's awesome. Josh is cool. I met him on the flight to Abu Dhabi. We talked for hours, or at least an hour, I think. I don't know. Maybe it seems like hours in my head. Cool guy. Every time we see each other, there's respect. My coach is trained under his dad for a while. Coach Jim, Jeter and Coach. Coach.
I know how to say that.
Coach Lenz. I don't know. I was going blank. But, you know, it's like, and people came across that gym. So it's like, I don't hate anybody from ATT. I have friends from there. I see it as like, there are a bunch of young men and women who want to build their lives. And that's where they chose to train. And that's where some of it's working for some, it's not working for others. I think it's cool because Josh fought at, you know, his dad's his coach. His dad's one of the heads at ATT. I think that's cool and I respect it. I like that part of history. It's not like when the Warriors go, you don't focus on trying to make history. Let the history be written. Right? Like a great running back Walter Payton says, when you're great, they write about you. They talk about you. When you're good, you talk about yourself. And if I start making the focus on us versus ATT, yeah, I get the media and like the opportunity there, but that's not my job. Right? My job is to go take him out, claim the victory. Yeah, which I'm going to do. Fight from victory, go claim his victory, and then like it's like I get to be a part of that, but I have to go do my job in order to be a part of that. There's no slouches. There's great coaching, intelligent people, and he earned his way to a title fight, and that's about it. That's about it for me. Like I don't know. I'll claim the victory, move forward. I'm gonna ride the motorcycle home. I'll be back in practice about a week or so. So it's not gonna be anything different, right? I got more victories to claim.
You know, watching your fights, I would say that you're more of a striker. You obviously have ground skills. You have submissions, including one in this year's regular season. But how would you, you know, because MMA kind of came a little bit later in your life, how would you describe your fight style? And have you been falling in love with any other aspects of fighting in the gym lately?
Yeah, I love them all. I love to fight. Like, I love it. So to be like considered a striker some days great. I've been announced as a wrestler. My coaches thought I was the one telling them what to write. I was like, I didn't say that. I didn't tell them I'm a prolific striker, but I will take it. I receive that blessing. And then this one he's like, grappling specialties in wrestling. I'm like, okay, I'm a wrestler today. You know, like I'll take it too. But
Now you know what switch means, right? So
I know switch means so. Hey, Olympic medalist. Man, I I never say this in a rude way, but it's like I mentally my fight style to me is to go assassinate, take the guy out. That's it. It's not to honor God, do my job, take him out, move forward. Whether it's on the ground, on the in between, strictly on the feet. Discipline is my like weaponized discipline is what I call it, and that's how I flow. Right, I flow. I don't care where it goes. Put it on the wall. This like I'm gonna get up, put them out, get back on top. Like outwork, I'll hustle, I'll fight them. So to say that I favor one is kind of weird because like I'm still maturing as a fighter. Like maybe right now, you see me knocking people out left and right, and we're getting submissions in there. But then maybe it transitions into like me wrestling people and putting them on their back and just smashing them or just submitting them. Like, I'm consistently learning and growing, and through the 12 weeks between now and claiming the victory, November 24th, you'll see a version of me you've never seen before, like the most dominant, most disciplined, most lethal, like focused Impa you've ever seen. And so to say what that's going to look like as far as strictly striking, I don't want to be known as strictly a striker. I don't want to be known as strictly a grappler. I want to be known as a complete lethal
mixed martial
killer.
artist.
Yeah,
Killer.
Mixed martial arts on a training board. Sorry, I'm referring to it. When I'm in the cage. It's like that guy's is fighting in a different dimension, right? Not like on a different level, on a different. It's like, and I challenge myself for it. Like I believe it's coming, and I believe it that will get. But I also look at myself like, how do you say? Like I look at myself. There's so much to gain and grow. And I'm excited to dive into it. I got to go into that place and isolate myself.
You view yourself as a sponge.
Yeah, as a sponge, and that thing's almost like lost them, trying to find the words. It's like I love learning, I love training, I love fighting, I love working together. But it's like all that matters, like, go get the kill. Go get the kill. Everything else comes with it. And all due respect, every bit of the world. Like I don't feel like I need to say this or anything like that, but it's like I want to be respectful of Josh and who he is. It's like that's one thing I love about this. And like I can go. John Smith once said, a great wrestler, he said, dive so deep into the process you find something new. And that's what we're doing. And this is the most time I've had between fights, and I believe each fight improved and be that much more dominant, right? Say now, well, November 24th be the sharpest we ever. Right.
Respectfully, I'm gonna knock you the fuck out, but respectfully. Pretty much. Yeah. No, but yeah, and I mean, with the PFL schedule and the format, I know that when you were making your UFC run, you fought 5 times in the span of a year. So I'm sure, fighting multiple times in a year isn't anything new to you. But what do you think of the PFL format with like fighting so frequently?
I love it. I wish we had a longer season. Yeah, if we had like 16 fights in a season or 8 or 10, whatever, like legally they can do. Of course, there's like budgets, there's money, but I love it. Like treat like an NFL season where you have 16 fights. I mean, I don't know how many people sign up for it, but I'd do it. I would gladly do it.
I'm a big proponent of this. I think that with the PFL potentially acquiring Bellator, the roster is going to get a lot bigger pretty soon. What do you think about potentially? This is my personal idea. What do you think about making a $2 million season that goes for 2 years because of how big the roster is going to end up being?
$2 million season that goes for 2 years. You'd have to fight 2 years to get to the title.
Essentially, yeah. Because we have to figure out a way to accommodate for there being a larger roster we can't have a roster of, I don't know, 16 guys fighting twice for four playoff spots, right? I mean, there needs to be a bigger frequency in how many fights happen. I mean, like we saw, for example, with the Jordan Heiderman Pat Brady fight, right? Jordan Heiderman got taking nothing away from either of those guys. Jordan Heiderman kind of won by freak accident in the first round. It gave him 6 points, and then because there's only 2 fights in the regular season, he ended up securing a playoff spot off of that and kicked someone else out. And so I'm just thinking about a way to like make it more to accommodate for more fighters and for more talent and for more regular season fights, but also just to make it worthwhile, because at the end of the day, fighting for 2 years for one for one title is a little bit taller of an ask than what it is right now.
Yeah, so I think it's cool. I like the longer season. I would wonder like how like they would call it a season if it's for 2 years, because like no, I mean seasons in nature, but seasons in sports in general, they never have like that long of a season. Fighting's different because you can fight year round. Like there's no off season technically, so I can see that definitely working, and I like that route. I like the $2 million route. I mean, like to make $2 million in 2 years, like I guess you can do that too in PFL now, where it's you win the first one, when the next one is still $2 million. But to have like a $2 million grand prize, I think is pretty cool, because it's an effort and you continuously fight. It'd be cool if you have like sports like soccer or even the NFL, where you have like the Pro Bowl break, or like Major League Baseball, where you have the
All-Star break.
All-Star break, right? I think you could do something like that, where it's a series of fights of like the super fights, like so Ngannou comes in, Killer Harrison comes in, and like so like I can see that working so in that, and like at the end of the year, all the fighters come and watch, and everybody has a big event where it's like kind of the UFC has their athlete experience, like fight ultimately, international fighting. They have something like that where all the PFL fighters are like flown in and brought around. Like, of course, PFL is growing, so it take like maybe not every fighter comes. Like, not everybody goes to like the UFC thing, but I think there's some like validity to that, and that could be pretty cool. Yeah, I mean, I'm all for it, like having all those people in PFL, but also too, I think that with the fact that they have PFL Europe, they're activating Saudi Arabia, they have Brazil.
Right.
They can probably all these leagues. You can like spread out fighters around the world, so even people could fight maybe in their home countries if they like that and still make great money. You could have people fighting, and like the leagues grow bigger on all fronts. So like PFL is kind of all over the world in their own leagues, and I think that you can have like the fighters now, so they don't lose their jobs, which is what the big concern would be, and they're still making solid money. And like as you work your way up, you get brought into the regular season here, and like people can like go through different leagues and travel the world, which I think you look later on in life, you're like, dang, I got to go all over the world and do this. And I'm going to go to the Paris card, and I'm going to go to Ireland for, I got to probably potentially start commentating, right? So like I get to see different like aspects of this. But I think that's a pretty cool idea, honestly, to have that $2 million tournament.
Right. And I mean, my thinking with it is that, say you're fighting for you're looking to, become champion in the UFC, right? It's probably going to take you longer than 2 years to get there. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, I think it keeps that integrity of, fighting for something intact. But
yeah,
but
I think with the UFC,
sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I think with the UFC though, it's like sometimes it takes longer to get to a title. Like Chandler popped right into a title pretty much, right? Right. But he's built his way. I think there's like, so PFL, I think it's cool because you really do earn your weapon a season, right? And every sport has a season. You can work your weapon. It can be just 1 year. Like the Las Vegas Knights walked right into like the first year in the league, and they're the champs or something like that. Then, right? Like each season is something new, but like sometimes a champion in the UFC can hold out for 2 years, especially if they're popular, right? So there's a popularity contest. I think if Aljamain Sterling hold out for a couple of years, they would just strip it. Somebody like if Sean was out, maybe they keep it. And they're okay, just do interim. Like John Jones is out, but they're going to keep interims because they like the draw that he has. So I think it's going to be like a popularity contest. Whereas PFL, you earn it like a regular sports season.
Yeah,
which I respect.
Exactly. Yeah,
I don't know which one makes it more valuable then. Like, is it more valuable because the person's a better fighter, or is it more valuable because they're hold out? Is it more valuable because they just feel like they're not ready to fight? And you don't want to take it away from the fight. I don't think it should be strict of the title. But
Right.
then some people also milk that, and like who knows if they're disciplined, they're not down to fight, or they're not ready, or not wanting to. Like you do have like the essential, the kind of, you do have that target on your back type thing. But PFL's like earn it, earn it, earn it. You're champion, you got to earn it. Because like the Patriots win the Super Bowl, they were the Super Bowl champions the year before. But they got to go earn it again. They're not just like walking into the season with the Lombardi Trophy all year.
Right.
Like, and I think that kind of makes it more respectable. Maybe I could be speaking from bias because I'm in PFL now, but I don't know. It's like the UFC can just have it and just be walking around the title, but I'm not gonna fight you. I'm gonna pick my fights. I'm gonna do this. Like PFL, you don't get to pick your fights. Like you just get to pick you
I
are.
mean, at the end of the day, like you mentioned like which one is more respectable. I would say that it's just different, right?
Yeah, different, right?
I think that you see a lot of fighters come into the PFL from the UFC and not have the immediate success that they thought that they would get, like Shane
Right.
Burgos or and I think that different formats fit different fighters' fight styles and lifestyles differently, right? So at the end of the day, I
100%.
think that there is something that you can't take away from somebody who ends up winning the PFL season, because that requires you to be so on point and so consistent for an entire year, right? So
Right.
I don't think Paddy Pimblett, for example, would ever be able to fight in the PFL because that guy
Yeah, I don't want to say
blows
ever.
up
Maybe
after
you
his
have to,
fights, right? So
and I think there's that, and it challenges your discipline. Because I can get big too. I can get to 230, 235 for sure.
mhm.
But why do that, right? So it's like, and I got this phrase, I guess, comparison kills content, right? Like I'm not here to compare. Like I have like experience with both. Maybe
Mhm.
not as much experience, obviously, with the UFC or PFL,
I
like,
mean,
but it's like they're,
you fought four
like
times in the UFC, don't cut
yeah, four
don't
times.
cut yourself short, you went 2-2, you
I
probably shouldn't
appreciate
have even been cut in the first place.
it. Hey, God had a great fight. One thing I said after the Atlanta fight, I was like, thank God UFC cut me. I was happy. So this is great because like I'm moving forward. Um, but yeah, like I mean, I see that if I was in the UFC, I'd be champion there. I'm PFL. I'm gonna get this title, become champion here. I
Right.
think, like you said, like we'll get this title here, solidify myself as champion. But I look at it like to do it, like you said, for a whole year, and to get that success in 1 year is multiple years of consistency. Not
Mhm.
breaking, not doing. Like when I didn't have a fight, I was still training the same way, pushing, 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 pushing. It's like you're reaping from the investments you put in. You got to take care of your investment.
Right.
So,
And going back to the UFC run, I'm just wondering what your thoughts are on like your former opponents, the one specifically the ones you lost to. I
yeah,
mean, like Buckley's been doing his thing, right? Like he just moved down to 170 where he clearly feels more comfortable. And then Carlston Harris is also like doing great now. I mean, he lost to Shavkat, which is nothing to sneeze at. And then after that, he just beat Jeremiah. He just finished Jeremiah Wells, who was like on his way to being ranked. So these two guys you lost to, by no means are they cans, right? Like they're guys who are doing their thing. So when they're having their own success, I think it reflects better on their former opponents too. So like, how do you like you're not the type of guy to have any ill will towards people, I can tell
no, no,
already.
no, no. I'm
But
grateful. Like so, like I
yeah.
always speak from honesty.
Mhm.
Like to date, I've lost 2 fights. On paper, it says I lost 3. If you watch the Eagle fight and everybody else who was there, they know I won. I
Yeah.
don't care about the politics. I could have made it better. I could have separated myself more. When it comes down to it, I won. And when I look at it, my record, I say it's 15-2. I'll be 16-2 after I defend this title. All that stuff. And it's not the records that so much matter to me. It's like the respect of it. So I like to mention that. But when I look at it, one fight I lost due to an excellent kick that was executed that I could have done better in and I made adjustments myself. Doesn't take away from Buckley, who I say is a really good fighter, because people talk about how he's not technical, this, whatever. He comes to fight, and I
Mhm.
respect it. And I lost that fight for sure. I lost that battle, right? And so, there's battle within the war. I lost that battle, but I'm not going to lose the war.
Yeah, he's a good fighter. He's gonna fight for a ranking spot in his next fight
Yeah,
probably. So
which is awesome. And he
yeah.
fought my teammate. He's done his job. And then, what's his name?
Carlston.
Carlston, man, excellent job. I don't want to take anything from him. Fought with staff, got clipped. He executed, got me. What I like that fight back, I like the lessons that I took from that fight more so than anything from that battle. It's like I think about things differently, and like I look at like we went to war, we knew what we had. I had all the right to say I'm not going to fight. I chose to do it. I believe I could have got him. I know I hit him some good shots in the beginning, and I was like this, and then I got clipped, and he executed. I remember popping back right up. At the same time, I understand why the ref called it, and like I learned so much from that helped me change how I prepare and like adjust my life. So I definitely won a lot from that fight, though I didn't win that battle.
And
So it's like I look at it like this, like, man, those are the two guys. Buckley, good on him. People always talk about us fighting again. He comes to PFL, great. If God has a plan for us to fight later on, great. Carlston, respect him. We messaged each other. I messaged both of them. I saw Buckley actually when I was in Vegas. I went to the PI when I went to when I fought at on the Vegas card for my showcase fight with PFL. And like I really, really respect him. And I want to shout out Corey Hendricks because he was a tough opponent, solid opponent. And I learned a lot from that as well. But I didn't finish him. So I'm like, so
yeah, I mean, you've been going on a burner with the finishes. I mean, you started out your career, you were obviously getting wins, but a lot of them were coming by decision. And then more recently, I mean, since it might be since you moved to Killcliff, you've just been racking up the finishes. So, you know, is there, do you approach these fights differently now, or like what do you attribute to you know, getting those finishes?
I attribute it to God. You know, blessed me with the gift to fight. Like I really mean it. Like I know that like it's challenging to explain. It's like, I don't know if you're a Christian or not, but it's like so many different gifts in life. And I believe one of mine is to challenge myself and dive deep into it and like go for it and go get it. I know I have a skill to finish people, and I can see where I'm going to finish and how I'm going to do it. But it's based on who God's put in my life, my coaches. You know, we have Henry Hoof, Greg Jones, Coach Dean Navarro was in my corner, Coach Jones was in my corner, Nick Lones, Coach Stroud, Coach Saeed. They've got a lot of great minds. You know, Gerald Mearshart, coaching, and I'm around a lot of great minds. And I believe everything that's come together, and like I really love this. So it's like it comes together where like I'm gonna go get that.
It's easy when you love it. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely, dude. Like guys like Robbie Lawler, I can talk to it, drop him for dime. Like it does, you know. It's like maturing as a man, as a fighter, in my faith. Like I've been focused on being so obedient to Christ. So like even though the things like if I'm messing up somewhere, like I openly talk about it, like faith. Like you shouldn't have sex before marriage. Like when it's like when you start focusing like on like what God tells you to do and cutting off the wrong people and wrong things in my life and things I shouldn't do, and I start pursuing what He wants from me, I believe I get rewarded in a way, not because I'm doing it to get the reward, but I'm doing it because I really want to honor God. Whether He told me I can't fight today or never again. Like I don't care. Like if God says don't fight today, I'll walk away and resign from the PFL. Like there's no issue. That's my commitment, you know? But it's like when I know I'm called to do this, like I want to dive deep into it and pursue excellence. My dad challenges me. Like after the Buckley fight, we were taking the ambulance to the hospital, and I said, Dad, don't worry, I'm gonna finish the next guy. He said, then he called me before the fight. Said, "Don't come home unless you get this win. Don't come home unless you finish this guy." So not in a rude way, but he challenged me, and that really gave me a lot of encouragement because it showed he's seen what's in me, but I have to work and work and work and till the soil so that I can work the land, you know, what God's given me, so I can go get it. So like my faith, the training partners I have, like they're so sharp and so solid and so gritty, and we can like piss each other off to the point where like you're getting after like Aaron Jeffrey, Delano Taylor, Jason Jackson, Gregory Rodriguez, Phil Hollins, you know, when he was there, Brendan Allen when he's in for camp, like people that are so solid. I know that when it's time to go, I'm prepared and ready and dialed in. Like Gerald Mearshart, Gilbert, like people, even people just watching. Sean Soriano, like I don't try to walk because he's smaller, but he's also a coach. Like Coach Sean, like all these coaches, right? Like all these coaches, Nick Lenz, like putting the minds together collectively, and I'm going to put my effort and put the work in. I believe that, of course, you have to be on Kill Cliff. It's obviously showing, and it's going to show on the 24th why this move was so great. But also, it's like I do love it. Like I love it, and that's where I believe I'm getting a lot of success.
That's awesome, man. We're coming to a close here. I don't want to keep you for too long. You've been they're gonna start asking you to pay rent for that coffee shop or something at this point. But I do have just a few more questions for you. I wanted to wrap it up on a lighter note. So I just want to know a little bit about your journey to see all 50 states. How many states have you seen so far? What's been your favorite one? And have you had any like super weird experiences?
Every time I have a weird experience for sure.
Yeah.
Oh god, well, I went to Connecticut for the first time yesterday, which is pretty cool.
Okay.
It was beautiful. I was in like Fairfield. Went to this gorgeous park. Was hiking. You can see it in my story. Probably still be in my story. I'll probably upload it soon. But gosh, man, I gotta go hiking again. I felt like I was back in North Carolina. It was beautiful and green. Friends have this like this very old neighborhood, like houses that are over like hundreds of years old. So it's like seeing history and just sitting outdoors. Like I loved it. Had a fire. I had picked some grapes off a grapevine, like that they grow. And it was cool. Got time to meditate. Man, I went to Vegas again, but I rode a motorcycle around Texas. I mean, I don't remember any place new that I haven't been before, if I can remember. But man, that was before the PFL season started, so I thought I'd be like riding all through the country, come back and practicing my goals hit 50 states. But I think I can still. Well, after the title fight, I won't like rush through all the states, but I'll go to Ireland to go support the PFL Europe final. I'm going to rent a motorcycle, hire a motorcycle, as they say in Europe, and then I'm going to ride around. So that'd be the next country. So I've done Wales, done that, but this year specifically, no. Like I've done Texas again. I rode through there. No, sorry, I didn't ride in Texas. I rode in Vegas. I rode a bunch in Florida, but not too much yet because of this. But I'm between, when I go get this title, I ride from DC down to North Carolina down to Florida, but I'll take a different route. So I'll probably stop through Tennessee, and go see some friends inside of Daisy, come back down, go to Georgia, ride in Alabama, where I'm going to the Panhandle of Florida, come back down, go to training, and then I'll start planning out like all the trips. And like, I don't care if I have to ride in the snow or get like an overlander. It might not strictly just be on motorcycle. It might be like overlander now, by boat. Like I want to travel the world. I love exploring.
And
So
it's gonna be a lot. It's gonna be a lot more fun to travel with that belt wrapped around your waist too, right?
yeah, for sure. I have the belt. Maybe if I should bring it around. I guess it'd be kind of cool promotionally to do that. But I want to do a ride from North Africa all the way down to South. Of course, you need visas for certain places and things like that. But I want to see where my parents are from and like ride around Congo and stuff like that. Yeah, people talk about the danger of life, but I don't care. Like I want to live this life, and God's with me. So, but yeah, definitely want to do all through around Africa. I'll hit every African country for sure. But definitely want to spend some time in Congo and then like go see kids out there and do some cool things.
That's amazing, man. And I know you have you're building a following over there too. So I'm sure people are gonna start recognizing you when you go over there, and it's gonna be super surreal and weird. But that's all part of the journey. My last question for you before I let you go. Last time I saw you, you were wearing that cowboy hat. I know you said that you're originally from the South. I'm just wondering, how many hats do you have in your rotation? Is it just that one, or do you have like hats for different moods?
I guess I didn't realize I was a hat guy until recently. And everybody's like, "You're a hat guy." I was like, "I'm not. I'm not a." Yes, I am. So I had this hat. I had the straw hat that I messed up. I accidentally threw my backpack yesterday on top of this hat and almost messed it up. I was pretty sad. But plan to get a few more. You'll see some new ones pop out for the finals.
I just think, I don't know if you don't have to be a hat guy if you don't want to. I just don't think that we see a lot of like people from the Congo wearing a cowboy hat. You know what I mean? I think
I'm the Congolese cowboy.
Yeah.
There are a lot of cowboys out there actually. There are a lot of people who till the land, and like historically in African American history, there are many cowboys. It's pretty cool. But yeah, it's something I connect with and it inspires me. I used to wear a cowboy hat in the sparring because like I was like the work ethic of the cowboys and the people who just work farms in general, like and land where I lived in Okeechobee, North Carolina. So it's like always been that. And I plan to have I lived on a farm for a while, but when I was down here in South Florida, and I want to have my own, ranch and farm soon. So yeah, man, I'll always be that. That'll always be in me. Cowboy Cerrone is always one of my favorite fighters because I knew he's active and super cool. We talked a little bit. He invited me so I can come out and see his ranch and all that stuff and learn how he's done it. So like I'm willing to learn and like I want to build it. If it's not a necessarily a business, but I do want to hunt, grow, and cultivate everything that I eat here shortly. So teaching, learning along the way, and starting something new. Yeah. I definitely have probably like this hat, another cowboy hat, I have bucket hats, baseball caps. Like I like hats in general. I guess it kind of works with the beard, but I don't know. I like them. I guess I think it completes an outfit sometimes.
I
So
love it. I love it. Yeah, and next time I see you, we'll have to do this in person, and I'll bring you a hat. I'll gift you a hat next time I see
oh,
you.
stop, man, stop. Give me a blush. Thank you. Appreciate you.
But yeah, man. Well, thank you so much for your time. I mean, we went, I think, an hour and a half. So,
Oh yeah.
I really appreciate this. I don't know if you've ever, taken that much time for an interview before, but
Maybe.
I'm very, very blessed to have spoken to you and
You
had the
too.
time with you. And if you're ever in New York, ever in New Jersey, those are my stomping grounds. So,
Yeah.
please reach out.
Appreciate you, man. Yeah, thanks. I'll probably be back up there soon. I gotta go do one thing, so I'll let you know.
All right,
Sure.
man. If you need a place to stay, if you need a place to crash for like 5 seconds before you head off on your motorcycle, always an extra,
Thanks a lot.
couch for you or something.
Yeah, it's all good. I can use a floor too. It's all good. Thank you.
All right,
That's
man.
all.
Well, have a great rest of your day.
Thanks. You too. Appreciate you.
All right. Bye bye.
All good.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh, cool. Thanks.
Sorry, I'm trying to figure out how to turn off the recording.